to another episode of How I Disappoint My Parents podcast. This is Kayla as your host. And gosh, I don't know how I can keep talking for so long. Growing up, I was always told that I talk too much and that I am chatty. And they are not wrong. But it does take time for my battery to refill. I actually used to talk so much that it would hurt. Like my mouth would get sore from yapping. I think that's what they say. Yapping. Which is, never mind. This reminds me that I unfortunately am Gen Z and just being looped in with the younger Gen Zs, I hate that. Did you comment if you heard about the Gen Z stare? Why is that a thing? I had came across an article and it was literally explained how Gen Z as customer service associates, there is no customer service. There is no greeting or small talk or even a smile or a fake how you doing. Nothing. They just stare at you, waiting for input, waiting for the order, waiting for you to tell them a problem and for them to ring up your order or find a manager. This is insane to me. Like, how did they even get hired? Am I so out of touch that employers don't look for genuine customer service? Or are the people in interviews know how to fake it? Fake it till you make it. But when it comes to the everyday job, they ain't faking it no more. I mean, I had a customer service voice. I had this completely different persona as soon as I clocked in. If you don't know this, I worked at Panera Bread. That was my very first job, Panera Bread. On the books job. I would do landscaping projects and work for my uncle. That paid well. If we are being honest, that paid well and better than Panera Bread did. Quick story, I got hired 25 cents below their starting. They said that they started at $7.50 and my pay was $7.25. And at the time, being 16, I didn't question it. And I guess I also was telling myself because of the tips, it would be okay. I was an opener for the bakery, and I would wake up at 4 a.m. to get there by 5 a.m. to do my job to set up the dining room, the bakery displays, and a few other things. Like, I would brew coffee. I would be the one brewing the coffee canisters and setting them up. And I did all that before 6 a.m., at least most things before 6 a.m. On days like Tuesdays, which was our Bagel Tuesday deals, those would be we open at 6, but I don't finish completely setting up till 6:30 because there's so much dang baked goods. And I think by the time I officially left Panera for good, I think I was about to be 5 years at Panera. I think. I'll have to do the math because I had left Panera. I was hoping to have a job closer to a psychology or medical related job, and I tried that out and it didn't work out. So I returned to Panera Bread. I think it was like after a year and a half of trying different jobs outside of Panera Bread, and I guess Panera Bread was my specialty. And it kind of was. Like, I made it all the way to team lead. I was considered and asked about becoming a shift manager of some sort. And I turned it down. And for fair reasons, I was doing college. I was doing college and finishing up college, and it was my last semester in college, and I knew I was going to be moving out. I knew I was going to be moving away, like 2 hours away. So it didn't work out. But yeah, it's Panera Bread in some ways. It tickles, it warms my heart. A lot of my experiences there. It was a lot of my experiences there were pretty good. Except for this one lady that would go through drive-through like first thing in the morning and always ask for the same thing, and more often than not, we did not have what she was asking. Yeah, I think some of the orders included like a banana strawberry smoothie, and I don't know how this happened, but a lot of the times she pulled up like first thing that we opened, and she asked for a banana strawberry smoothie. Sometimes we got it to her, but a lot of times we were out of bananas. We were out of bananas. And explaining that to someone like her, wow, it wasn't good enough. And eventually she just stopped coming around. Which I can't say that I will miss her or that I did miss her at the time. But anyways, the whole point of me talking about this is that's crazy to me for people younger in my generation to not have, I guess, common decency. I mean, you don't even have to smile. You could just like, hi, how are you? I mean, just like a question or like even a greeting. You don't even have to say, how are you? You could say, good morning. Anything, really. Anything polite. And that's another thing. Oh my gosh. I usually don't hate people, but where I live outside of Philadelphia, I really don't like people. And it's not, the drugs or smoking. It is just the complete lack of manners, and the complete lack of manners and the complete lack of turning signals and the complete disregard of traffic laws. There was 2 times in the same week where I got passed from the left lane. I got passed. It was a two lane road, opposite directions, with, that lovely no passing sign. 35 miles per hour speeding limit. I was doing 40. This person trying to do 60 overtakes me, like goes out of the right lane into the left lane and scoots on by. And this happened twice in the same week. actually on two similar roads. 35 miles per hour roads. This has happened. And it wasn't even during times of commute, like they're in an urgency to get to work. At least I think so. And even then, I have zero sympathy for that because you should leave on time or leave early. I don't know why set yourself up for failure in that way. Anyways, I'd gone shopping, grocery shopping the other day. There is so many people in the grocery store, and almost all of them, there was no excuse me, there was no, actually, I think a lot of this is no excuse me. There wasn't any of that. I mean, I spent too much time at that grocery store not being in anybody else's way because I have courtesy. I'm a very well-mannered person. And no one had that. For example, I went into this aisle to look at hand soaps because apparently I have to get fragrance-free hand soaps. And so I go down this aisle. I'm not parked my cart. Like my cart is not parked right up next to the aisle of products that I'm looking at. Like if someone needs to go by me or pick out a product, they can do so. But there's this one lady that she pulls up and she does park her cart and herself right in front of the display of soaps that I was looking at. And she's just parked there. She's like bending over, looking at different soaps, completely blocking any of the soaps I was trying to look at and find fragrance-free ones, which, by the way, I don't think I saw any. For hand soaps, I mean. And this other customer, this guy, enters the aisle, but he can't get by because of the way she's parked. So I notice this, of course, because I'm observing everything. Like I said, I was making sure I was in nobody's way because I don't like being a butthole. And so we give each other the signals like, hey, he needs to get through. So I back up my cart. And I guess she realized that she needed to move a little bit. So she moved her cart. She didn't move herself. She pushed her cart forward, which basically aligned with the cart that I was backing up. And so I had to back up even more. This woman didn't even care to look up and figure out that she was in the way or that she just made things worse. She just made the situation worse. And you could argue, well, this is simple. This isn't a big deal. And you are not wrong, but it is the perfect situation where I can simply say consideration and manners is out the window. Simple human courtesy feels gone. At least all the instances I've experienced as of late. There is no greeting. There is no, hi, how are you? It is, at least that day, was like, you get in, you get out. Everyone. And it was kind of crazy how many times there was just like people like it was like a speed run inside the store. People darting. There was no like, excuse me, anything like that. There was just a lot of people in a rush. Which I can't completely fault because there are times I am like that too. But I can't imagine any time where I didn't think of others, where we get to one refrigerator door that has, I don't know, taquitos, and I'm waiting for the person to finish looking. Um, I'm not like right behind them. I'm a good distance away, just waiting for them to be done with looking in their selection and picking things out. Um, I mean, is it so? I mean, maybe it's patience too. No patience, no common courtesy, no awareness, no self awareness. Maybe I should take a vow from now on to join the party, worry about myself. Maybe I should not think about others when I go shopping. Um, Gosh. I don't want to. I don't think I'm. Okay. Okay. Maybe a little bit. I think I'm better. Because I was. I don't know. I grew up with manners. I grew up with being polite. And this isn't even like based out of like a religion thing. It isn't, because I'm not religious. Yeah, a good amount of my family members are, but it's just how I was taught to be kind, helpful, have manners, greet others. I thought that was a common thing. And I guess it's not so common anymore. Or maybe the my current population of adults, and these were adults as the customers, of course. Gosh, this stuff like this makes me want to homeschool my children or raise them out in Timbuktu. Because I don't, I mean, yes, socializing with others is a skill you need to have, but there's just too many, I've had too many interactions thus far that makes me very sad for the future generations, or like the generations that will become parents, maybe, and bring up their children to not have manners or not be good people or not be, I guess, model citizens. But I don't even want to say that. Just be nice. Um, yeah, things like this. I want to like shelter my children so that they, I guess, don't have to deal with rude, inconsiderate people. But I guess they wouldn't learn that it is a good thing to be nice. Like, they won't get, I don't know. You've got to have the good and the bad. And I guess I don't want them to have the bad. Anywho, moving on, I guess to another sad subject. Oh my gosh, I am just sad, I guess. That's who I am. It would be cool if there were people to respond or like comment on what I post to, you know, hopefully, I really hope I'm not the only one who wishes that, I don't know, I guess wish things would change in the American culture. And when I say stuff like this, I am just reminded of how I guess I'm pretty much an old soul. God. So, in this episode, I actually was going to talk about body dysmorphia. What brings me to actually kind of wanting to talk about this is that I just recently hit a goal I've had for months now, many months. And if we want to really do like the grand picture of all this, I think I was like, I had to be about 12 years old, wanting to lose weight. I kid you not, I've had my Fitness Pal data tracker, and back then it was like occasional, sporadic tracking of meals. But no, I kid you not. I downloaded the app so long ago. Actually, I still have the app on my phone. And presently I do use it, but I have my phone open right now and I'm just gonna go all the way to the beginning of time. Okay, alright. Gotta scroll down a lot. Okay. So, this is a little off only because, oh no, never mind. It isn't off. I just don't know I don't know how to do math. So, I was 12 years old, actually just turning 12, where I started logging my weight and I wanted to track my foods and lose weight. And back in the, God, this was in middle school, and this was a very, 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 very dark time. Dark time of my life. A very, whew. I think what encouraged me to really try to lose weight is because I think it was shortly after a I think it was shortly after a annual physical appointment where they're checking your weight, telling you your BMI. And for my height at the time, I distinctly remember being in the overweight category. And I wanted to do what I could to prevent being heavier and also not follow in my parents' footsteps. Growing up, they were obese and then they had weight loss surgery. And it was pretty much drilled into my mind not to be like them in that way. And that was hard when I didn't grow up with those skills of exercise and eating healthy. Didn't have those skills at all. And so I thought what I could do as a 12-year-old is to calorie count my meals. And I think at the time I also was trying to work out. And I think at the time by workout, I think I was able to like get some exercise at a gym that a family friend would take me to. I think that was about it. So I pretty much started checking my weight for sporadically for the next year and a half. And as a 12-year-old, my initial weigh-in was 125 and a half pounds. And a year later, I maintained that. I was about 128.8 pounds. And then I just stopped with it all. I think I just became defeated because as I just listed the numbers, there wasn't any difference, really. Not really. But yeah, I guess I really thought I was heavy and fat and not pretty. If you ever got to see some pictures of back then, this was in comparison to like my older sister who had a stomach issue or eating issues where she was thin as a stick. She was tall and very thin. And I was shorter and slightly chubbier. And there's a big 4-year gap between 2015 and 2019. And That's where I logged in that I was 198 pounds. And so this had to have been the end of my junior year in high school, being that weight. So I think I had crossed over the threshold of overweight to obesity. And it just started growing from there pretty consistently. Like, I know I would go into my fitness pal to log my weight and my meals to try to fix things. I even saw a nutritionist in high school trying to reverse and lose weight and get good skills. And the thing is that they would tell you basically what you're told at an annual physical. Like, they'll weigh you, and if they have to check your blood levels or those type of like glucose, cholesterol, etc., etc. And like based on that, they would tell you, the recommendation, which basically, if you're not a healthy BMI, it is literally diet and exercise. They'll ask you, what do you do to exercise? What do you eat? And I ate whatever was home. I ate whatever was cooked. I ate my feelings. I ate when I was stressed. I ate to eat, and I was a bit I was a binge eater for the majority of my adolescence, if not all of my adolescence. And to me back then, like, the answer was diet and exercise. I had no one or nothing. Like, I didn't have support in that. I lived with my family still. Everyone was not on that page of eating healthier. And that's hard when your dad or your mom is cooking dinner and you have to be the one to say, hey, I'm not going to eat that. I can't eat that. I'm trying to lose weight. And then you kind of get like shamed in a sense where you aren't eating what they're cooking. So why did we cook that much? Or there's plenty of leftovers. I don't know. It kind of always felt like a burden to ask for healthier foods, because there was obviously always a chance that I wouldn't eat all of them before they all went bad. And I'm not trying to blame others for my own actions. It's just the environment that I was in. And it was very, very difficult to do meaningful change, but not have you don't have all the tools. You know what you should be doing, but you don't have the support or encouragement to do those things, or even the means to do it. I mean, we had a whole fridge stuffed to like max capacity of different types of foods. Like, I had 3 sisters, 2 parents. My uncle moved in. He had his own dedicated shelf. At the time, we only had like one freezer bin, and then eventually we got a freezer downstairs. But the thing is, at the time, there was no healthy frozen things. Maybe like frozen fruit, but it just became too much of a chore for me to blend a smoothie. I mean, if you blend a smoothie, you have to clean up after yourself. But my role was cleaning. I cleaned the house I lived in. There was only a select few of us who actually cleaned, who actually picked up after themselves, and then unfortunately had to pick up after their siblings that were no longer children. They were teenagers. I mean, me and my sisters don't have that big of an age gap. So moral of the story, I was pretty set for failure, and it wasn't until last year where It was my highest weight ever. I was basically the border of pre-diabetic and not diabetic. Um, my blood pressure was insanely high. I was 22 years old and 267 pounds. And what propelled what propelled my whole year's worth of change was basically going to see a fat doctor. And I called her a fat doctor because she was an obesity specialist. And she had a whole practice with like high carb, high protein, low carb diet. And then, fat didn't matter. Fatty foods didn't matter here. If you just focused on protein intake and low carbs. And just going to the appointments, I think it was like weekly or something, or I don't know, it was pretty often. It was very expensive. They sold products that were high protein, and it was very hopeful at first, and then essentially any support that they could have offered wasn't available. They had programs that they advertised, but it didn't happen. Like they would offer like group sessions so that you can share experiences and stories with each other and like have a community. And that didn't happen for whatever reason. And so basically it just became me like going to an appointment and there being no difference. It was another thing where you get the tools in your toolkit, but no support on how to, there was just no support. And actually their model was to lose a certain amount of weight with just like the high protein, low carb, and then be able to incorporate exercise. That's what they were telling me, that I need to focus on this diet first and get that figured out and then lose enough weight to, like, I think it was a certain percentage where I could then be encouraged to work out. I was part of this program for about 6 months until it clicked to me that this wasn't helping. Their model didn't change. It didn't adapt to where I was. It was expensive. And so I left. And it was... I will give them some credit. I did lose 10 pounds from my highest weight. There was progress. It just wasn't significant and not in the way that they were modeling or supporting. I couldn't follow the diet that well, and because I couldn't follow the diet that well, I wasn't encouraged to exercise. And so was pretty much plateaued until May. We had moved into new place, new community, new area. I started working out at Club Pilates 4 times a month. And pretty much since May till now, all the weight loss I've done, pretty much it became a snowball effect. I can pull up the numbers because the snowball effect was working out really well because I had started tracking my food with MyFitnessPal for 154 days in a row. So this app, you track your meals. It gives you a streak. I mean, it definitely has changed since I was 12 years old. It has a premium option, say goodbye to ads. There's a few other things too that were never here. But for my own use, I just have been using it to track all my meals, the calories, of course, stay under a calorie limit, and then every week or maybe 2 weeks, I will put in the weight of myself. Gosh, how much is 154 days? Is that 5 months? Yeah, I think that's about 5 months of me tracking my food every day. And I will be the first to admit, some days I have to do it the day after because I forget or the day was too busy. Well, okay, usually I forgot. But luckily, this still tracked the streak if I filled in like the day before that I missed. That was super encouraging. Just seeing the number, like 5 months that I've been tracking. It feels good. And what feels extra good is going down a lot of sizes in clothes. This was always so interesting to me of how the I can never wear like a two-piece set of clothing where top is extra large, bottom is extra large. No, no. The Lord that I don't pray to did not give me the torso or the breast of a someone who's, I don't know. I'm not all one size. One size does not fit all around here. So my shirts had to be like 2X. My pants, the largest it got up to was, I think, 2X in some of the pants. And then if it was like jeans, it was 20 wide. And I know this very well because I kept a pair of shorts from my largest weight as encouragement. Like, I don't ever want to ever comfortably fit into these shorts ever again. So I've kept those. Right now, I'm 227 versus the 267 of my highest weight last year. So overall, my total, I lost 40 pounds. And that's fantastic. And I know I had said body dysmorphia in the beginning, and I'm just getting there, I promise. At my highest weight, I had taken a Polaroid with my boyfriend, and the person I saw there, I didn't know them. I didn't recognize myself. And I remember when I was like 12, 13, 14, I saw myself in photos sometimes, and I thought I was so extremely fat and ugly. And from being, I guess, 10 years later, seeing those photos from back then, I am astonished that's how I felt. Because I see those photos back then and I'm like, I looked healthy. You know, the following years, the high school years, not so much, but the years where, like, what made me start trying to manage and lose weight. Yeah, I know at the time I didn't see myself as healthier, prettier, any of the above. I tried to be. I'd wear makeup, I'd try to be stylish clothes, and eventually I like succumbed to this depression sorts. But yeah, the photo that I kind of hope I kept this Polaroid because I just needed another reminder that I never want to look at. I never want to see myself like that ever again. But yeah, that's when I realized that there are times where I don't recognize myself when I see myself in photos, or like I literally saw this Polaroid and I was like, I don't know who that is. That's a stranger. I didn't see myself looking like that, and back then I didn't see myself like that. I didn't see a healthy person. I didn't recognize when I was unhealthy. I hated pictures of myself. I hated them so much because I for the most part, always thought I was ugly, but had a few cute moments. Like if I could control the camera, if I could tilt my head a certain angle or smile wider. If there's anything that I take from any of this trials and tribulations, it is that I will do whatever I can to instill healthy habits with my kids. I know I can't control or prevent, like, I can't control things that aren't in my control, but I will definitely try to do everything in my power to get them engaged with activities that are fulfilling, whether it be like a sport or a dance or something extracurricular, something to look forward to, something to focus attention on. I want to show them the food groups they should be having, have them understand portion sizes and eating slower and drinking water after you're done with a meal, or like when you feel like you're hungry, you should be drinking water because sometimes that's how the body tells you that you are thirsty. I want to teach them that they aren't supposed to look like everybody else. That some weights look different on other people, that we are different heights, different ethnicities that take part in how we look. I want to somehow give them the confidence that they need to be healthy and keep themselves healthy in light of social and cultural pressures. I want them to never have to feel the way I felt in all aspects of life. I don't want them to question whether they're loved or that they'd be a disappointment or that they're ugly and that their body defines who they are. Everything bad or negative about me, I they gotta be better than me. They gotta be better than me and my partner. If they aren't, then what the hell am I doing? Times like these is where I feel like I need to journal this and save it, and in a time where things are uncertain, either I read it or I let them know. Although now that I just said that, I don't want them to feel burdened by my own struggles. So, if anything resonates with you, I guess I'm sorry. Sometimes I want to go to my past self and just hug her. Yeah, these were really, really sensitive, big topics. Except the manners one. I mean, that was that was opinionated. Um, but yeah, I don't. No one's obligated to comment or share their experiences. I will need to put a disclaimer. Gosh, gosh. All right. Well, this has been another episode of How I Disappoint My Parents. I hope whoever is listening, wherever you are, I hope there are good things that come to you. And yeah, that's about it.